收睇大型小聚。嗱，如果喜歡飲酒或者品酒嘅朋友咧，對 Rothschild 呢個名稱咧係唔會陌生嘅。咁今日我哋好高興請到一位咧係專家上嚟，同我哋介紹下唔同嘅酒啦，特別咧就係香檳嘅。歡迎 Mr. Frédéric Mairesse， 佢就係 Managing Director 行政經理 of 呢個係 Champagne Baronne de Rothschild 嘅。Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Welcome to my program.
Thank you.
I just introduced you, Mr. Mairesse. You're actually from the Champagne Baronne de Rothschild. Most of our audience very familiar with the Rothschild family. Could you tell us a little bit of history about the Rothschild family?
Oh, I will try to be not too much long, because the history started in 1744 when the dynasty started to work in the bank, and they moved, in the wine business in 1853. First of all with Mouton Rothschild, and after in 1866 with Lafite Rothschild. So they spend a lot of time, to increase, and to be, one of the best and the first winemakers and growers in Bordeaux, especially. And since now, 60, 70 years, they spend a lot of time outside of Bordeaux, in California, in South Africa, in Argentina, in Chile, in New Zealand, and now in Champagne. So,
started in Bordeaux.
Started in Bordeaux, yes, in 1853 with Mouton, when they discovered that this was very important to get maybe more wine indirect, to be the owner of the wine. It was the UK branch who started, and they said instead to buy the barrels from France and to import it, in UK, we could buy directly, the castle, the chateau, and to try to do the best and to manage, the wine with their name on the label. That's why they buy, the chateau brand Mouton, and they transfer the name in Mouton Rothschild in 1853.
Those are big names. People always wonder, what are the major factors of a great wine, Mr. Mairesse?
So I could say that the great wine is belonging to the terroir first. So you need to get, the vineyard, your vine in the best terroir, in the best place. And we have the chance in Pauillac with Lafite and Mouton to be on one of the best places in the world to do red wine. So in the meantime, of course, you need to get, the best winemaker and the make technical tools. But you need times too. And with the Rothschild, on each project, we have so much time. We discuss, for 20, 25, 30 years in advance. So that's why we are patient and we can do, the best for all the wines that we do.
So in your opinion, so how about climate and weather? You think terroir is the most important?
Yes, terroir and the climate, of course, because as you know, we have the chance in France, especially in Bordeaux and a few areas, and to have a very nice climate, to have the good weather, not too hot, with a night, with a cold night sometime when it's necessary in August and September to get a very nice maturity. So between the terroir and the climate, we achieve one of the best wine in the world with the Grand Cru of Pauillac, of Saint-Émilion, of Pomerol, of the Grave, and of course, in other countries like, in other parts of France like Burgundy, but also in the south of France, the Rhone Valley, and for the white wine in Champagne and Alsace.
Well, since you're talking about the wine region, what is the difference between the left bank and the right bank?
It's mainly about the soil. The soil are very different. With the right bank, it's more some soil with when we can do a lot of Merlot inside, which is not so much tannins varieties. It's more smooth, more not simple, but
complex.
But with not a lot of so much tannins and anthocyane means
the
colors.
Left bank.
On the right bank. On the right bank. On the left bank, you have more, Cabernet, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Good choice. And so it means that we are able to age maybe more times in this wine and to get, a better wine in this kind of strong, powerful Pauillac or Margaux or Saint-Estèphe, Saint-Julien. But both of them are very, very delicious. You have a cellars. You need to try, of course, the left banks and the right bank, but it's not the same style. The right bank is more smoothly, it's more, it's more delicate, and on the left bank, it's more, more strong, powerful, wine.
Most of the people, when we talk about great wine, or people talk about Bordeaux, what makes Bordeaux so unique?
In my mind, because they have started, since the beginning of the 20th century to sell the Bordeaux everywhere in the world, and they use, the negociant in Bordeaux to sell the wine, and that's unique in the world. So it means that all the wine growers, all the chateaux, does the best to make the wine, and after that they sell the wine to negociant, and these negociants, there are maybe 100 in Bordeaux. They try to do the best to make the promotion, the sales over the world in all the countries. That's what the success of the Bordeaux since the beginning of the story, one cycle before. And that's why very well Bordeaux everywhere on the planet. Following the Bordeaux, it was Burgundy, who came with a direct sale, not from negociant, just indirect from the owner to the clients. But,
so direct sales.
Yeah, direct sales. But the main story of the Bordeaux, why did it such much success? It was about the negociant in Bordeaux, who actually now they work again with this kind of process directly with the chateau to the negociant to the importer, and the importer to the clients. It's unique in the business to get all this organization, and because they are all together, they make the promotion of Bordeaux since the beginning all together. For example, you have unions of the high growers who move around the world every month with between 40 to 80 Grand Cru, and they speak about the Bordeaux every time with the same sound. So it means they can make the promotion, they can explain everything about the Bordeaux,
and
educate, try to get the best pairing and so on, to go in the right way. It's unique. They did the job since the beginning. That's why they were the first and maybe the most popular red wine in the world.
Well, let's perhaps go back to a little bit of the history. Talk about the classification of wine. Why we have that AOC? And then we started, to the first classification in Bordeaux. It was in 1855. So they decided to make a classification by the price. The chateau, the wine which was the most expensive was the first growth, the second growth was the second one, until the fifth growth. That was the first start. And after a few years, between all the appellations in France, between Burgundy, Bordeaux, south of France, Champagne, and Alsace, and the Rhone Valley, they decided to go with a common rules by appellation. It was in 1935. It was the creation of the DOC. When people said, okay, we need to go to have rules to avoid to have a mistake about the quality, and to debate. So if the yield is, 50 hectoliters per hectare, it's 50 hectoliters per hectare for everybody. If you agree to put, Cabernet or Cabernet Franc or Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, it's the same rules for everybody. To try to get the best and to have the rules to expect the best quality for everybody. So it was a start in 1935, and since this time in France, you have the rules established in each vineyard for each appellation, and everybody needs to follow them to do the wine and to sell it. So we have quality control in each appellation to be sure that we follow the rules, and we are not able to sell the wine if you are not in the rules. So it's by appellation?
Yeah, by appellation.
So Grand Cru is the best?
The Grand Cru, of course, in Bordeaux is the best because since 1855, only one chateau moved a bit. It was Mouton Rothschild in 1973.
Only Mouton?
Yeah,
okay.
Because when the Rothschild, I don't know, it's a story, but when the Rothschild bought the chateau in 1853, it was in the last 2-3 years not a very good management of the chateau, so the quality declined a bit. So when the classification arrived in 1855, they have an issue because they said, okay, Mouton is not in the first rank. We just have Lafite, Latour, Margaux, and Aubryon, and they put Mouton in second part. And it was in 1973, after decades and decades of works with the Baron Philippe de Rothschild, involved the process, involved the quality, which they decided with the Président de la République, the French President, and the First Minister, Jacques Chirac was in charge of, at this time, of the Ministry of Agriculture, to move, from the second round to the first round.
Wow.
It was in 1973. And since this date, 1855, it was only one chateau who moved the classification, Mouton Rothschild, in 1973. Only one.
Okay, let's take a quick break. 話講得好精彩，點樣分類下？其實我仲想問下Mr. Frédéric Mairesse 係點樣 decant 酒嘅？第二節見啦。翻嚟第二節嘅大型小聚，今日嘉賓係 Mr. Frédéric Mairesse， 咁佢就係酒啦，特別係香檳嘅專家。咁其實我哋第二節咧係想講香檳嘅，不過未講香檳之前咧，我想問下佢，因為好多時我哋飲紅酒咧都想知道究竟點樣醒酒咧先係啱嘅。Before we talk about champagne, let's talk a little bit about decanting red wine.
So decanting is necessary because when you have big wine like the Bordeaux or the Burgundy red, you have sediment in the bottle first. And secondly, we need to have a small oxidation before to taste the wine, because you can imagine that your wine stays in the bottle for 10, 20, 30, 40 years without oxygen, with a bit of oxygen between the cork, because you have a lot of small oxidation between the cork. But when you go to the table and you have to go to propose the wine to your guest or for yourself, you need three things. The first thing is to be at a good temperature. So it's better to decant it to get the good temperature, in the decanting. Second,
我想問下佢咩嘅溫度係最啱 ？What is the best temperature? Sorry, interrupt you.
So we could do, for the wine, especially for the red wine, between 18 to 20 degrees. That's the best temperature.
Ready
to
for
taste.
drinking.
Yeah, And for the white, you can go at 12 to 14 degrees, and for the champagne, 8 to 10, depending what you are looking for. And about the wine, when you go to decant it, we need to wait maybe 1 hour to 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on the quality of the wine. The stronger the wine is in the beginning, for example, it's for Mouton or Lafite, sometime for vintage of 10 years, 15 years, you need to wait 2-3 hours before to taste it.
Really? 佢話有啲係要好多個鐘頭嘅，但係我又聽到有啲朋友話，如果有一啲太耐嘅酒，唔應該係喺出邊醒得太耐。Some people said for really old vintage, we shouldn't decant it for too long.
That's true. That's true. For the old vintage, you need to take care because the wine is very sensible about oxygen. So you need to go to a decanting just to avoid to put the sediment in the bottles on your glass, and to put the wine in the decanter for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes only, to try to get the best of the best from the wine. But if you go too long, if you stay maybe 2-3 hours in your decanter, it should be bad for the wine because you get more oxygen inside and you lose the peak.
The fade, the wine fade.
Yeah.
Your personal preference. Do you want the wine to wick up, open up in the decanter or in the glass? 我想問佢自己中意喺個 decanter 醒酒定係喺個杯度醒酒
Depending on the wine, but more often when you have a big wine, you can go to the decanter first before the glass. It should be better for the quality of your wine.
Okay, 就我哋而家講香檳。So let's talk about champagne. Tell us about champagne.
So champagne is it's amazing area because we have only one wine in Champagne. It's only Champagne. When you go to Bordeaux, you have Saint-Émilion, Saint-Julien, Pauillac, Saint-Estèphe, blah blah blah. Médoc and Haut-Médoc, and so on. But in Champagne, you have only one appellation. So we do all the wine growers, all the winemakers, all the brands does Champagne. That's specific.
但係我想問下，係唔係隨便可以叫香檳 ？But not any type of wine can call themselves champagne. There has to be very specific wine region.
Yes, first of all, they need to be in the appellation of Champagne, close to Reims or Épernay. You are not able to do Champagne everywhere.
Otherwise, just sparkling wine.
Yeah. Sparkling wine is outside of Champagne. In Champagne is Champagne. And so the Champagne is specific because we do a Champagne with a blend of three things. We do for more often a blend with vintages. With not the rules for the still wine. We do Champagne with a blend of varieties. So we have Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and Chardonnay. And we blend it, to do the best between the three varieties. And the third point, we blend villages, means growth, cru. We have 312 villages in Champagne, and we are able to blend, a lot of villages between us to take the best of all of them in the blend. That's very specific. The blend of varieties, the blend of villages, and the blend of vintages. That's very, very specific in Champagne.
Very specific.
Yeah.
So 咁如果係咁，我想問下，究竟種嗰啲葡萄緊要啲啊，定係個配酒師緊要啲？So what's the most important? Growing the wines or blending the wine?
So I could say three times. The first is the sourcing, the grapes, to get the best grapes first. To get the best grapes of Pinot and Chardonnay, to have the best fruits at the beginning. Secondly is the blend. To get the blend, to have the faculties to do the blend, to have the knowledge, you need to wait maybe 10, 15 years to be a very nice winemaker. Because when you do the first blend in your glass, you need to wait 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years to discover the wine after the second fermentation, alcoholic fermentation in bottles, to get the bubbles. So it means it's very difficult for a new winemaker to say, okay, I am right or wrong, because you need to wait. That's why we used to follow, old guys, which did, maybe 20 or 25 blends, in their life, to be sure they can go, each other in the same way to do the blend of the champagne. That's very complicated blend. We spent few months to do the blend during winter time between January to March, and we expect to be very precise. Because when you do the champagne, you need to do after the blend a second fermentation in bottles with the bubbles, and the bubbles exhaust the aromas. So if you make a mistake at the beginning, it should be a mess at the end.
哇，咁精密嘅程序，但我其實想知道係一個人做啦，還是係一組人做 ？So usually, did you say that called the chef de cave?
The chef de cave.
就係個專有係愛嚟 blend the wine. So is it a team of people doing it, or just a handful, or just one people?
So usually it's a team, but with a head winemaker. So if you speak about the experience of Rothschild, so we had the chance.
Say for example, Champagne de Baron's Rothschild. So that's done by a whole team of people.
Yeah. So we have the head winemaker. He was he just left because he just retired. He joined us 10 years ago. He was 64 last year. And he was in Champagne since 25 years old. So he spent maybe 40
the whole career there.
So all the careers.
Wow.
So the second one is 40, 45, and the third one is 30. So we work all together to try to do the best and to share all the tastes and the feeling of the champagne that you can get in these kind of bottles. Okay. But you need a lot of knowledge about the champagne to do this kind of bottles. So that's why very often you have a team with a chef, the chef de cave, with the head winemaker, who at the final say, okay, we go this way.
I see. We need to do the disgorging of.
So in Champagne, to summarize how we do the Champagne. So we pick up the grapes. We do a still wine, a white wine. Okay, this white wine we need to blend it and to do the best with a few vintages, because we can use reserve wine, and of course few varieties. After, when the blend is done, we put the wine in bottles with a bit of sugar and yeast, and they work again, and they do the bubbles. And
for how long then? For
between 15 months to 10 years, depending of the brand, depending of the style.
Champagne?
Yeah, depending on what you want to do. For example, currently for the legal constraint is 15 months after the bottling. But for the Rothschild, it's 5 years, because we decide we have time, we want to go very slowly and to expect a very nice aging for very nice quality. So we go to 5 years at minimum for the white wine. So after the aging, we have in your bottles pressure, wine, bubbles, but you have yeast, and the yeast are dead. So you need to expulse the yeast to get a very clear wine. That's what we do with the disgorgement. So we wheedle the bottle to put the yeast on the neck of the bottle, and after we disgorge it to get a clear wine, and to add a bit of liqueur. Liqueur is the wine, a still wine with a little bit of sugar, cane sugar.
So that's the dosage.
The dosage, and after that we put the cork, the wire root, and we are waiting for a few months again before to label the bottle and to ship to the consumers. So it's a long process. a long process.
哇，個程序其實都好複雜㗎。我想問下 ，Why do we need to put back that dosage, that little bit of sugar there?
It's a specialty of the champagne to adjust a bit, the acidity of the champagne and to add, a bit of sugar. In the 19th century, they had, when they were at the beginning of the champagne process, they had between 40 to 80 grams per liter of sugar. It was like a syrup.
Very sweet.
Yeah. At the beginning of the 20th century, it was roughly between 15 to 25 grams. When I have started my job, in Champagne in 1989, it was between 10 to 15, and now we are below 6. So we had a bit of sugar just to adjust a bit, the taste, not too much to make a makeup, to make up the wine, to try to make up, some default, but try just to adjust a bit, the taste, to have the best way in your palate when you can taste it.
講下香檳佢個唔同嘅甜度。Let's talk about the different scale of sweetness.
So
we have the brut.
Yes, you have the brut between 10 to 15 grams. Below the brut, you have the extra brut. It's below 5 grams per liter of sugar. And up to the brut, you have the extra dry and the demi-sec. Demi-sec is roughly between 25 to 30 grams per liter. And the trend is around the world is to go down to brut, extra brut, and sometimes no dosage.
The natural.
Yeah, natural.
Would it be very like lots of acidity, like?
Yes, but you need to balance with the long aging. So if you age more, you have a little bit of oxidation in your bottles, and it's better for your taste. So if you have time, like the Rothschild, we can wait, for 4 years, 5 years, 10 years for the vintage if you want, and to add, a little bit of liquor just to adjust a very low dosage.
Wow, I see.
Is that a secret?
Lots of knowledge there.
It's a secret, huh?
哇，好多學問。我哋第3節繼續傾下點樣飲香檳。轉頭見。翻嚟第3節嘅大型小聚，咁係時候咧請教下點樣飲香檳。Show us how's the best way to enjoy champagne.
Or
just any
the best way. The best way in my mind is maybe to drink it every day and every night, because you can have the champagne for the aperitif. You can have the champagne for the first dish, to try to get, the main pairing with the rockfish, lobsters, something like that. You can go to all the dinner with the champagne, and you can drink everything, all the night, because the champagne is a magic, wine. And previously, in the past, they used the champagne for celebration, but now, the new trend is to use it for the aperitif and every time.
我就係以為係咁，因為以前我哋飲香檳咧係有喜慶嘅時候 ，just for celebration。Not necessarily.
No. Now we use, it's very trendy now in Europe to use it, for the aperitif and for the night to have a glass of champagne with your friends and your family. And that's the new rules, what we have, in Europe. And now in Asia, it's coming back, and we are going to do the same trend in Asia, especially in China, in Hong Kong, in Singapore. And that's why we work on it, and we work on the market in this way. And with the range of champagne between the brut, the blanc de blanc, the rosé, the vintage, the extra brut, you can manage, what you can pair with, and also the same time you can manage what you want to drink during the day or the night. That's famous.
So one by one, let's 講下點樣配嘅酒同食物。So maybe you can go for that with us. So the brut.
So the brut, you can have, the chance to go for veal or for chicken or for fish without sauce, or maybe cheese. We have a beautiful cheese.
I was going to ask, 可唔可以同 cheese 一齊配
And the cheese too, like,
yes.
We do, with the Rothschild, we do also cheese, Rothschild cheese, the brie. The brie is the Rothschild brie. So you can use it, with the brie. It's amazing. If you go to the blanc de blanc, it's more, for lobsters with scallops. With oysters, this kind of fresh, dish.
點解 blanc de blanc 就會配嗰啲好啲 ？Why is the blanc de blanc better with? Is it lighter?
Because lighter and with acidic, because you have only Chardonnay inside, and so it's very fresh and very light and very beautiful wine. So it's better to use it, for this kind of fish or scallops, and I said, tartare of tuna, these kind of things.
Wow.
If you go to the rosé, My favorites go to gazpacho or to dessert. Dessert with red fruits, strawberries, raspberries. It's amazing, when you are in July.
Did you say gazpacho and also prosciutto and kind of cold cut?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And of course, for the vintage, you need to take time because it's a very, very, very high level quality. We can have to share it with your friend, your family, with lobsters too, with rockfish too, and also with beautiful white meat, especially with veal or with chicken too. That's perfect, and you can go to sushi. You can go to a few dishes that you are perfect cooking, in China, which is amazing with our champagne.
Stir fry.
Yeah.
我其實想問下 Mr. Mairesse 點解 vintage 咁特別 ？Why is vintage so special? Or perhaps tell us the character and the personality
about
the vintage.
About the vintage, it's
Is
very.
This
2008.
2008.
Yes, and 2008 it was a big vintage champagne first. We use, parcels vinifications, quite new in Champagne. So we use a part, the parcels, the best parcels of the Chardonnay in the Côte des Blancs. We use only 50% of the juice, the best juice, the first cuvée to get, the wine, the best
cuvée.
wine, And we have time, so we have, to age a bit the wine in small tanks with a bâtonnage, means to shake a little bit the lees in the wine, like we do in Burgundy for the big Chardonnay. So we did it in the small tanks.
Small tank.
And after that, we have time. So we wait for 7 to 8 years before disgorgement. So we had times to let the wine get its benefits in the bottles and disgorge it with a special liquor. With a low concentration, with a little bit of aging in oak, but I can't explain you all the details because it's a secret. It's my secret. So.
佢嘅 secret 佢秘密我都想問嘅其實 during the aging, I'm just curious. So how often the chef,
the cave,
go back to check?
So at the beginning, for the first 3-4 months, every month we have a tasting to be sure that everything is on the way. And after, we can taste every year.
Every year.
And after, when we go to 6 years, every 3 months, 4 months, we go to taste and to start to find the best adequation between the liquor and the wine in advance, because we need to do the job between 1 to 2 years in advance, the disgorgement in this kind of wine. So it's a long time before, and when we are close to the disgorgement, we can taste it every 2 weeks, 3 weeks to be sure we are ready now, because it's a huge decision. When you say we go, you need to go, and when you go, you are not able to go back.
Okay.
So you need to be sure.
To be very particular.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
問下 rosé 酒 Sahaba rosé.
The rosé is it's specific also in Champagne because we use a lot of Chardonnay to do the rosé, especially in Rothschild. So it means that for to do the rosé in Champagne, you need to blend the white wine for a lot of Champagne with red wine. The red wine is coming from Champagne. So we do with Pinot Noir or Pinot Meunier some red wine. In Rothschild, we use only Pinot Noir.
I was going to ask why not Meunier? Why not Pinot Meunier?
So we use a bit of Pinot Meunier, in the Brut. Yes, in the Brut and Extra Brut. But after that, for the rosé, we use it only for the red wine, and for the vintage and the Blanc Blanc, only Chardonnay, because we are close to the Chardonnay, which is the best grapes in Champagne, where very expensive and so on, but the most qualitative wine. And about the rosé, so we need to blend a bit of red wine from Pinot in the white wine, and it's very difficult because you need to blend it to get the very nice aromas, to get the good color, and
nice pink.
Yes, a nice pink. But the pink change between the first day and after the aging. The pink changed a lot. So you need to be an expert to try to get the good color at the beginning, because at the end of the aging, after 3-4 years, that's changed a lot. And your pinks change, move to orange, decline a bit. So you need to be sure that you can get the good color after the alcoholic fermentation bottles. It's not a piece of cake.
I see， 即係其實唔係講緊今日嘅品質，係預測幾年後嘅品質。好似我髮型師話，我唔係淨係剪你而家，我係估下你幾個月後個頭髮個髮型會係點。That's That's not easy.
No, it's not easy. And the trend in champagne is to sell more and more rosé because rosé, over the world in still wine and in champagne is growing very well because ladies love to have a drink of rosé, at the sunset or for the aperitif, when they are quiet and loves to go this kind of wine. And the production is growing since now maybe 20 years, between 2 to 3% since maybe 3-4 years. So we are close to 5% now in total production in rosé, and the quality increase again because we are more specialists now the rosé in all the brands, and the rosé is so now trendy that we are looking to do the best for everybody.
唔知係咪真係佢話而家好興，唔知係咪越嚟越多人喜歡飲咯 ？So more and more people get into that?
Yeah, yes. We have a big success in all the countries, especially in Asia too, in Vancouver, in North America. The rosé is booming, either in the still wine and in the champagne. It's booming. 30 years ago, the rosé in France was small. It was nothing. Today, it's big.
Interesting.
It's big.
Interesting. Ms. Mairesse, we have champagne in front of us. What is the best way to open a champagne bottle?
So I could say every time. So you can use it, every day. But the best time and the best way is to take care of the temperature first, and to be sure that your champagne is fresh. It's between 8 to 10 degrees.
10.
And to 10 degrees. And to open the bottle, you have 2 times. So you can pop up the bottle, the cork.
As always.
Yeah. And it's funny, and we do it, in family and with friends because
very festive.
It's festive. And if you go with the restaurant or more, a guest, a dinner with guests and so on, you need to switch a little bit the cork to avoid the noise and to be very discreet.
So, yeah, because有啲人教就係要好慢慢地係轉嗰個樽。就唔係 pop 一聲 so some actually the professional way is actually turning the bottle. We're doing the cork first.
So we turn the bottle first, and we keep the cork, and to avoid to pop up the bottle, the cork. And when you have your friend, you can pop up the cork, or you can make a sabrage, with a when you cut when you cut the neck.
Yeah, I experienced them too. That was cool. 即係一個軍刀咁樣就 pop 咗個 cork 去。How about glasses?
So glasses, you have 2 schools. You can use flute as usual. A lot of people use flutes because flute is good for the bubbles because you can see the bubbles running around the glass and with a nice form on the top of your glass. But if you want to smell and to toast and to smell and to take the aromas, it's not so easy to try to find the aromas with the flute.
Okay.
That's why we use more often now with the Rothschild and with the big champagne, this kind of glass, a wine glass for the big cuvée, especially for this kind of vintage. With very premium champagne, very for the connoisseur. So we try to get this glass to have more aromas in the nose and to get more taste.
Do we need to swallow?
Yeah, you can eat it, of course. It's like a wine, of course. And you need to do it to have the best way, since the beginning to get the best flavors and to appreciate, the quality of the champagne. So we have 2 schools, and I can say, the better you go about the quality, you can choose this kind of wine. If you just have, a few bubbles for celebration, just to have, a simple champagne, it's not so important to take care of the glass.
In fact,
in my mind, yes.
Should be this glass. So this is just a wine glass.
Yeah.
哇，原來飲香檳唔係要用 flute 係可以睇過嗰啲 bubble， 但係其實呢個先係聞到嘅 aroma。
Fabulous. You love it?
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's talk about the market. So you travel a lot.
Yeah.
More and more people like champagne nowadays?
Yes, the total market of champagne is 300 million bottles. 50% is for exports. 50% for France, 50% for export. What we see now, since now 15 years, is that we have new markets. The main market was UK, USA, since a long time. But now, since 15 years, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, all Asia markets is going up. And
Merci beaucoup.
Merci à vous. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much.
其實咧飲酒咧係一種情趣嚟嘅，不過咧還要係注意健康啦，同埋唔好酒後駕駛。多謝收睇《大人小聚》，再見。